Hello everybody, how you doing? It's Pastor Dre, and I just wanted to take this time to personally review this section that we just went over. It was choosing and placing your team players. Okay, I just want to point out some important things that I believe that we covered, and hopefully, we could get this in our hearts and in our minds and apply it to our youth ministries. Number one, we talked about the two questions. You remember what they were? Number one, the first question is, if you could do anything for God and knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? That was the two questions that we want to ask someone to find their passion. The second question is, if you could do anything for God and you knew money wouldn't stop you, what would you do? So those are the two questions that I like to ask my team players or those that are on my team to find out their passion. Because like I said, when you find out their passion, that's the ministry that you want to place them in, a ministry that relates to their passion, okay? So let's go over one more time. Number one, if you could do anything for God and knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? Number two, if you could do anything for God and money didn't stop you, what would you do? The answer to those are usually your passion. Then we talked about the importance of placing your team in their power spot. I told you, remember that word, power spot, because wherever your power spot is, that's where you're going to be most effective. And your passion determines your power spot. For example, if I like acting, then I'm probably going to have a power spot in a skit ministry or a drama ministry. That's probably going to be my power spot, because passion equals purpose and purpose equals potential. And we're going to get into that more a little bit later. But I just want to let you know that wherever your passion is at, that's where I'm going to have the most, the most opportunity to be the most effective. Okay, so then you want to put that person that has a passion for acting in an area of ministry that lines up with their passion. Okay, then we talked about recruiting according to passion and not need. That's very important. So I said, when you're trying to recruit for a team, when you're trying to recruit players for your team, say you take them out to lunch or you go to breakfast, once you ask them those questions and you find out their passion, then you don't want to just place them in a place where there's a need. For example, say we go have lunch or we go have, breakfast, and I ask you those two questions and you say your passion is acting. Okay, let's just say that. But then there's a need for ushers or whatever, sound, whatever it may be. I don't want to take you out of your passion and put you in an area because there's a need at my youth night and you want to help. The key thing is to try to keep you in your area of your passion. So you want to mobilize your team by passion and not need. And we talked about what happens when you mobilize by need. Sometimes the person is doing the ministry. It can even become a job for them because there's no passion there, and they do it because there's a need. And you got to remind them, and you got to keep giving them vision and ideas. And it's not their fault. It's just there's no passion for that area. They're just meeting a need. But on the other hand, when you place someone in their power spot and they have a passion, they're probably coming to you with ideas. They're probably like, hey, pastor, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So you don't have to constantly remind them because they're in their power spot. So let me just emphasize that as a youth pastor, youth leader, youth worker, you want to try to recruit according to passion and place people according to passion and not need. And then we also talked about being a shepherd of my passion. That means that whatever passion I have as a team player, me as the youth pastor, youth leader, I'm going to encourage that team player to use that passion to build young people. Not build their ministry, but to build young people. So we talked about try not to use people to build your ministry, but use your ministry to build people. Wow, this is good stuff. And let's get into our next lecture. And once again, thank you for taking the course.